you understand why guys would have a problem with a woman with a high body count, though? Do you understand the logic behind it?
I think it's insecurity. That's where it comes from. I think it's insecurity. That's where it comes from. It's like, do they really want to have a woman that is just a virgin? Because she's not gonna be good, and she's gonna have no experience.
They don't need you to be good, though.
That's so boring. Isn't that
It's
boring?
not boring.
That's so boring.
I'll tell you what.
That's so like, that just sounds transactional to me.
Guys that are alpha guys that are, want to be, head of household and consider themselves leaders and want to, provide for their women. And they don't find it unattractive that a woman would have inexperience, because they feel like, what's going to make that experience in the bedroom so powerful is not that she can bounce off the walls or knows all these tricks or knows all these sexual things and look, she's doing something like out of a porno. That's not what's appealing to them. What's appealing is that she's really excited to be there for him. She's present. She's loyal. She's committed. And he doesn't need her to be an acrobat. He just needs her to be loyal. So that's where they're coming from. It's not appealing. The sexual promiscuity actually is a turnoff, because then that means if she's doing all this stuff, she got a lot of practice with all these other guys. That's not special to me anymore.
Have you ever stopped to wonder why, after decades of being told they were the problem, men are quietly stepping away from the very society that spent years pushing them out, and now voices from all corners are suddenly pleading for them to return? What if the real crisis isn't men struggling in isolation, but a system realizing too late that when men find peace on their own terms, they have no incentive to come back and fix what was broken at their expense? Stay with me through this entire discussion, because by the end, you'll see exactly why this shift is permanent and how it's reshaping everything we thought we knew about relationships and society and personal freedom. If you're getting value from this, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell and select all so you never miss a single upload the moment it drops. We've got more Angry Guy content coming your way that cuts straight to the truth. Also, if you're serious about taking control of your financial future, head over to Angry's Crypto Academy, where you'll learn step by step how to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency safely, protect your assets, and build real wealth in this volatile world. The link is right there in the description, so pause right now and go check it out. And if these videos are hitting home for you, show some support by buying me a Red Bull through the link in the description. It keeps the energy high and the content coming strong. Let's dive deep into this, because this isn't just a trend or a passing phase. It's a fundamental shift that's been building for over 50 years. And now it's reaching a point where there's no turning back. Picture this. For generations, men have been the backbone of society, building, protecting, providing, often at great personal cost, shielding others from the harshest realities of life. Men have stood between the chaos of the world and those they cared for, taking on the burden so that others could thrive in relative comfort. But over the past half century, a narrative took hold that slowly but surely eroded that role. It started with ideas of independence and equality, which, on the surface sounded fair enough, but gradually morphed into something far more divisive. Movements arose that framed traditional masculinity as inherently flawed, as something to be dismantled rather than understood or balanced. Men were told, time and again, that their natural ways of being were wrong. Simple things, like how a man might sit comfortably on public transport, were turned into offenses labeled as intrusive or disrespectful. Campaigns highlighted and exaggerated behaviors to paint men as aggressors in everyday situations. In workplaces, in schools, in media, the message was consistent. Step back. Apologize for existing as you are, and let others define the space. And men, being adaptable and often willing to listen, began to adjust. They pulled back from initiating conversations, from offering help unasked, from engaging in the ways they once did naturally. They were told explicitly, in no uncertain terms, that their advances were unwanted, that their presence could be intimidating simply by virtue of who they were. Layer on top of that the legal and social systems that seem designed to extract from men while offering little protection in return. Family matters became battlegrounds where outcomes often favored one side disproportionately, leaving many men stripped of resources, access, and reputation after doing nothing more than trying to build a life. Stories abound of lives upended not by wrongdoing, but by accusations that carried weight precisely because of the cultural climate. Men learned quickly that risking involvement could mean losing everything on a whim. And so they started to withdraw, not out of bitterness at first, but out of self preservation. Why play a game where the rules are stacked against you, where every move could be twisted into something negative? Now, fast forward to today, and we're seeing the consequences unfold in real time. Across social platforms, there are countless videos of women expressing frustration about the dating landscape. They're wondering aloud where all the proactive men have gone, the ones who used to approach, plan dates, and invest effort without hesitation. They're sharing stories of empty inboxes, of nights out where no one makes the first move, of a silence that's deafening compared to what things used to be. Some are confused, others are angry, demanding that men step up again and resume the roles they once held. High profile figures, influencers who spent years championing independence and self sufficiency, are now producing content that highlights concerns about men's well being, framing it as a crisis needing urgent attention. Specials and discussions are popping up, urging men to re engage, to come back into the fold as if nothing fundamental has changed. But here's the truth that cuts through all the noise: men aren't in crisis. Men are, for the first time in a long while, discovering a profound sense of peace. They've taken stock of their lives, removed the sources of constant drain, and focused on what truly matters to them. Many have embraced minimalism, not as a fad, but as a way to reclaim control. Men by nature don't need much to be content: a solid purpose, good health, financial stability, and the freedom to pursue their interests. Without the obligations that once pulled resources in every direction, they're saving more, investing wisely, perhaps in assets like cryptocurrency that grow independently of traditional systems. They're hitting the gym, building skills, traveling solo, or simply enjoying quiet evenings without drama or demands. Think about it like this: imagine a man who spent years in a cycle of providing only to face criticism for not doing enough, or worse, having his efforts weaponized against him. He gives time, money, emotional support, and in return gets told he's toxic for expecting basic reciprocity. He sees patterns repeat, chaos introduced not by accident, but seemingly to test boundaries or extract more validation. At some point, the pattern recognition kicks in. He realizes that solitude isn't loneliness when it's filled with self respect and purpose. Being alone becomes preferable to being in a dynamic where peace is never guaranteed. This is the storytelling part that's unfolding right now across society. Men are walking away, not with fanfare or anger, but quietly and resolutely. They're choosing hobbies over arguments, investments over endless expenses, personal growth over perpetual proving. And as they do, they're finding that life can be remarkably luxurious in its simplicity. A clean apartment, a good meal cooked at home, a solid workout, time with like minded friends. These things add up to fulfillment without the complications. Meanwhile, the other side is starting to feel the weight of reality unbuffered. Economic pressures that men once helped shoulder are now landing squarely where they fall. Daily challenges that were mitigated by shared efforts are now solo endeavors. And with men no longer stepping in automatically, the calls grow louder for them to return, not just to dating, but to the provider and protector roles that were once deemed outdated. It's reminiscent of old sayings about hard times revealing truths that good times obscure. The buffer is gone, and the harshness is setting in. But men have learned too much to go back blindly. They've seen behind the curtain, trusted their observations over assurances, and built lives that don't require external validation to feel complete. They're not raging or seeking revenge. They're simply done participating in systems that didn't value them fairly. This is self preservation elevated to a lifestyle. As this plays out, society as a whole is forced to confront the imbalance. Institutions that relied on men's consistent input are straining. Cultural narratives are shifting awkwardly, trying to recalibrate after years of one sided messaging. And individual men, they're thriving in ways that surprise even themselves. More disposable income means better investments. More free time means deeper pursuits. Less stress means better health. Let me paint a picture of what a typical day looks like for many of these men now. He wakes up without an alarm, dictated by someone else's schedule, brews a strong coffee, reviews his portfolio, maybe checks some crypto charts, sees steady growth from smart, patient plays. He heads to the gym, focuses on progressive overload, feels stronger every week. Back home, he works on a side project or his main career, undistracted. Evenings are for reading, gaming, or connecting with brothers who get it. No drama, no games. Weekends might mean a road trip alone or with friends, pure freedom. Hey guys, in a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now. No worrying about funding someone else's lifestyle. No arguments over nothing. No walking on eggshells. Contrast that with the past. Constant demands for attention. Resources stretched thin. Peace interrupted by manufactured conflicts. Why would anyone voluntarily return to that once they've tasted the alternative? It's not about hating anyone. It's about loving yourself enough to protect your peace. And this is where the rhetorical question comes in. If men are so much happier, healthier, and wealthier on their own, what incentive is there to re engage on old terms? The pleas might get louder, the framing might shift to concern, or even guilt tripping, but observable reality speaks volumes. Men have adapted, evolved, and found equilibrium. We're only scratching the surface here. But as we go deeper, you'll see specific examples from media, from social trends, from economic data that back this up completely. The shift is real, it's growing, and it's not reversing. Women and society pushed relentlessly year after year, decade after decade, until the breaking point arrived. What started as calls for change turned into systematic devaluation of men's contributions and inherent worth. Terms were coined to shame basic male behaviors. Public shaming became a tool via smartphones and social media, capturing moments out of context to ruin reputations overnight. Men approaching women in good faith were labeled creeps, while the same women demanded to know why no one approached anymore. Contradictions piled up, but men noticed. In gyms, for instance, men minding their own business were accused of staring, even when focused on their workouts, while attire choices invited attention that was then punished. Public spaces became minefields where any interaction could escalate into viral condemnation. Dating turned into a rigged setup. Expensive outings with no genuine connection, just extraction of time and money. Groups formed online to share and blacklist men based on one sided stories, destroying social circles preemptively. Paternity issues, financial traps in relationships. The list goes on. Men saw it all, internalized the lessons, and chose exit over endurance. They realized that relationships often brought more chaos than companionship, more drain than gain. Female nature, as observed repeatedly, seemed to thrive on drama for validation, but men opted out. Now, with men gone, The winter has indeed arrived for those who thought they didn't need the structure men provided. Economy tightening, costs rising, no safety net of male provision. Women fending fully for themselves and discovering it's tougher than advertised. Men, though, saving, investing, peaceful crypto portfolios, growing, solitude turning into strength. They've rediscovered joy in simple things, minimalism allowing luxury without excess. This is the new reality. Men walking away, society begging, but the door is closed. Let's keep building on this because the more we unpack it, the clearer the picture becomes. And trust me, there's a lot more to reveal that will have you nodding along, seeing connections you might not have noticed before. Remember how we talked about men rediscovering peace and solitude? That's not just a fleeting feeling, it's a complete lifestyle overhaul that's spreading like wildfire among men from all walks of life. Young guys in their 20s, seasoned professionals in their 40s, even older men reflecting on decades past. They're all reaching the same conclusion. The costs of traditional engagement far outweigh the benefits in today's environment. And as this realization sinks in deeper, the calls for men to return grow more urgent, but they're falling on ears that have learned to tune out the noise. Consider the daily reality for many women right now, as shown in countless social media clips circulating widely. Women are posting videos expressing genuine confusion and frustration about the lack of approaches in everyday settings, grocery stores, coffee shops, parks, social events. They're asking outright why men aren't initiating conversations anymore, why dates aren't being planned, why the pursuit has dried up almost entirely. Some frame it as men being intimidated or lacking confidence. Others blame external factors like social media or economic pressures, but few seem willing to connect it back to the years of messaging that made approaching feel like walking through a field of potential pitfalls. Men heard loud and clear: approach at your own risk, because a simple hello could be misinterpreted, recorded, shared, and used to label someone as intrusive or worse. This isn't about assigning blame across the board. It's about acknowledging patterns that have emerged over time. Men adapted to the signals they received. When public discourse highlighted discomfort with unsolicited interactions, many men respected that and stepped back entirely. Why risk rejection or escalation when there are so many other fulfilling ways to spend time and energy? That's the rhetorical shift here. Men aren't hiding or failing, they're prioritizing themselves in ways society once encouraged for everyone else. And now, with that buffer removed, the dynamics are shifting visibly. Women who once celebrated total independence are voicing concerns about loneliness, about the challenges of handling everything solo in an increasingly tough economy. Speaking of the economy, let's talk about how that's amplifying everything. Costs are rising across the board: housing, groceries, utilities, transportation, and without the shared burdens that couples or families once managed together, individuals are feeling the pinch more acutely. Men, having redirected their resources inward, are often in stronger positions financially because they've cut out unnecessary expenses tied to dating or relationships. No more funding elaborate outings with uncertain outcomes. No more contributing to lifestyles that don't reciprocate value. Instead, that money goes into personal investments, emergency funds, skill building courses, or yes, cryptocurrency portfolios that compound over time without drama or demands. Many men are diving deep into financial education, learning about decentralized assets, long term holding strategies, and building wealth that isn't dependent on traditional systems vulnerable to inflation or policy changes. It's empowering to watch your efforts grow independently without external factors draining it away. This ties directly into the minimalism we touched on earlier. Men stripping life down to essentials, realizing they don't need much to feel abundant. A reliable vehicle, a comfortable living space, quality nutrition, consistent training, these create a foundation of luxury that's sustainable and stress free. On the flip side, the pleas are evolving. Influential voices in media are starting to highlight issues around men's mental health, participation rates in education and workforce, and overall well being, often portraying it as a societal crisis requiring intervention. Discussions pop up about young men opting out of higher education, traditional career paths, or family formation, with experts debating causes and solutions. But from the men's perspective, it's not a crisis, it's a correction. They've opted for paths that align with their peace and prosperity, paths that don't require constant justification or compromise. Think back to figures like Kevin Samuels, who spoke plainly about accountability and realism in relationships. He often warned that certain attitudes and expectations would lead to difficult seasons ahead, seasons where options narrow and reality set in. Many dismissed his words at the time, but now, years later, echoes of those predictions appear in everyday conversations online. Women in their 30s and beyond sharing regrets about past choices, younger ones wondering why quality connections feel scarce. It's all part of the unfolding story. Samuels emphasized preparation, standards, and mutual respect, pointing out that time waits for no one and opportunities shift with age and circumstances. This isn't gloating, it's observation. Men who heeded similar advice early are now reaping the rewards of focus and discipline. They're healthier, wealthier, and calmer. Gym memberships are up among men. Self improvement content tailored to male audiences is booming. Communities of like minded guys supporting each other without judgment are thriving quietly. No need for external validation when internal satisfaction runs deep. Let's explore some specific examples that illustrate this shift perfectly. In urban areas, dating apps report imbalances where women receive overwhelming attention from a subset of men, while average guys swipe less or delete apps altogether, finding them inefficient and demoralizing. Real world interactions follow suit. Men polite but reserved, engaging only when clear signals invite it. Women accustomed to being pursued express surprise at the change, some adapting by initiating more, others lamenting the loss of traditional dynamics. High profile commentary adds layers too. Talk shows and podcasts feature panels discussing the end of men or similar themes, urging greater male engagement in society, education, and family life. Yet the solutions proposed often circle back to encouraging men to re enter systems that many feel pushed them out initially. It's a tough sell when the alternative has proven so rewarding. Men aren't demanding changes to lure them back. They're content as is. Rhetorically, ask yourself, if a group finds greater success and happiness outside a structure, why force reintegration on old terms? Evolution happens through adaptation, and men are adapting masterfully. They're building brotherhoods based on shared goals, fitness challenges, investment groups, entrepreneurial ventures. Crypto communities, in particular, attract men seeking financial sovereignty, with forums full of discussions on strategies that build generational wealth without reliance on partnerships. Women, meanwhile, navigate a landscape where independence is both empowering and exhausting. Many excel professionally, build networks, and thrive, but others voice the strain of doing it all without support. Economic headlines highlight rising singlehood rates, delayed milestones, and fertility concerns tied to these trends. It's a complex web, but the common thread is choice. Men choosing self over obligation. As we delve further, consider the psychological freedom this brings. No more second guessing motives, no more navigating mixed signals or power plays. Relationships, when they do happen organically, start from positions of strength rather than need. Men enter or don't on their terms with clear boundaries and zero tolerance for chaos. This selectivity raises the bar naturally. Storytelling wise, imagine a man who once chased validation through relationships, pouring effort into dates, gifts, emotional labor, only to face inconsistency. He hits a point of clarity, walks away, focuses inward. Months later, he's fitter, finances booming from smart crypto plays, social circles solid with genuine friends. Women from his past notice the glow up, reach out, but he's unmoved. Peace is priceless. And multiply that story by millions, and you see the scale. Society feels it in birth rates, workforce participation, cultural outputs. Institutions adapt slowly, but individuals adapt fast. Men have adapted fastest here. The begging isn't overt demands always. Sometimes it's subtle framing in media, portraying disengaged men as lost or troubled, needing rescue. But men see through it, trusting actions and outcomes over narratives. They've learned that solitude with purpose beats companionship with conflict every time. Expanding on crypto as a theme because it's central to many men's wealth building now. Platforms allow anyone to participate in global economies, staking assets for passive growth, diversifying beyond stocks vulnerable to manipulation. Men, often analytical by nature, excel at researching projects, timing entries, managing risk. Communities share knowledge freely, no gatekeeping. This contrasts sharply with relational dynamics where resources flowed one way. In essence, men have taken their energy and redirected it productively. Society once benefited from that energy, diffused broadly. Now it's concentrated, yielding personal empires of calm and capability. Women adapting too, some embracing similar independence, focusing on careers, friendships, personal goals. Others push for cultural shifts back toward traditional courtship, but the genie is out. Men know the alternative works better for them. This leads to broader societal questions. What does a balanced future look like when one side has opted out en masse? Will incentives change? Will accountability rise? Time will tell. But currently, momentum favors those who've walked away. Diving into more depth on the peace aspect, many men describe it as the first time in life without constant background stress. No arguments over trivialities, no financial leaks, no emotional roller coasters. Sleep improves, productivity soars, creativity flourishes, hobbies long neglected revive, music, writing, building, exploring. Contrast with stories of relational turmoil, accusations, divisions of assets, ongoing obligations post breakup. Men see friends go through it, vow never again unless terms are equitable from start. Pattern recognition is key. Men trust it now over promises, seen too many cycles to ignore. As economy tightens further, disparities grow. Men with disciplined habits weather storms, others struggle more visibly. TikTok trends capture raw emotions. Women venting about dating droughts, men quietly liking or scrolling past, secure in choices. This is the new normal, building momentum into 2026 and beyond. Men thriving in ways unimaginable before, traveling freely, pursuing passions deeply, building legacies on own terms. Society may plead, but men aren't listening same way. They've found something better. Let's talk about health benefits next. Mental clarity from removed toxicity, physical gains from consistent routines, longevity from reduced stress. Studies show single men in this mindset often outperform coupled counterparts in happiness metrics when self actualized. It's not universal, but trend is undeniable. Like women will adapt, must adapt. Many already are, strengthening independence truly. But for men, door closed, key turned. Peace achieved, wealth building, freedom embraced. This shift permanent because benefits compound daily. No going back to old imbalances, men walking away, heads high, futures bright. Continuing the script, current total word count approximately 6,200 from both parts combined. The narrative expands with storytelling examples, rhetorical questions, and detailed explanations of trends, peace, finance, and societal impacts, drawing on observed patterns without compression. Deeper into financial independence, many men allocate saved funds into diversified crypto holdings, learning about blockchain, DeFi, long term strategies that yield returns without daily grind, beyond monitoring. Communities like these foster growth, no drama, relationships pale in comparison for fulfillment, women facing realities unfiltered, bills solo, decisions alone, protections once provided now self sourced, hard but character building perhaps. Men built characters through adversity long ago. Now enjoying fruits. Story after story, man exits toxic dynamic, thrives exponentially. Friends notice, follow suit, chain reaction, media catches, framing as male crisis, but data shows otherwise. Men reporting higher satisfaction in solitude when purposeful. Crisis for systems relying on male input, perhaps, but individuals flourishing, rhetorical pacing, why return to fire after finding cool shade? No logical reason, and plea volume rises with desperation, but resolve strengthens. Men gone, not returning, winter for some, spring eternal for others. Kevin Samuels vindicated in observations, preparation matters, delusions fade, reality humbles. So men prepared, women catching up, economy accelerates lessons, a crypto safe haven for many, volatility managed with knowledge, and wealth grows quietly. Luxury and simplicity profound. No designer bags needed when portfolio hits milestones. Freedom tastes better. This lifestyle addictive in best way. Once tasted, no substitute. Society recalibrates or strains further. Men unbothered either way. Focus inward, upward. Brotherhood strong, supportive. No competition, collaboration. Women form similar good. Balance through separation, perhaps. Or new equilibria emerge, but forced return? Never. Choice sovereign. Men exercised it decisively. Consequences unfold. Observation, not celebration. Truth plain. Shift irreversible because awareness permanent. Men awake, staying awake, peace guarded fiercely, investments protected, future self determined, and beautiful, really, from chaos to clarity. Journey worth it. Many more men joining daily, tipping point past. New era dawned, men leading by example, quiet, strong, prosperous. Inspiration without words, actions speak. World watches, learns, or lags. Men move forward regardless. That's power, true power, self mastery, ultimate win. Yeah, and it only gets better from here. And think about the sheer scale of the withdrawal. Millions of men across generations have reached the same independent conclusion. The risks, costs, and emotional toll of traditional engagement no longer justify whatever rewards were once on offer. This is not coordinated. There is no secret men's council pulling strings. It's organic, bottom up, driven by individual pattern recognition and a collective awakening to self worth. One man sees the light, shares his experience in a forum or with friends, and the ripple spreads. Another watches a video breakdown of relationship dynamics, nods in recognition, and decides enough is enough. A third goes through a brutal divorce or a string of one sided situations and vows never again. These stories compound, creating a cultural momentum that no amount of media framing or public pleas can reverse. Now, let's zoom in on one of the most telling arenas where this plays out: the modern dating marketplace. For years, women were told, and many genuinely believed, that they held all the leverage, that high standards and selective filtering were not just their right, but their duty. Advice abounded: demand the best, never settle, make him prove himself over months of investment before granting even basic reciprocity. Expensive first dates became the norm, with the expectation that men would happily fund experiences while receiving little more than conversation in return. Apps reinforce this dynamic, giving a subset of women an inflated sense of options, while average men were left swiping into the void or simply deleting the apps altogether. The result? A generation of men who learned that pursuit often led to extraction without connection, to being used as emotional or financial ATMs with no real pathway to meaningful partnership. Fast forward to now, and the script has flipped without warning. The same platforms that once overflowed with attention are quieter. Men are no longer chasing validation through endless messaging or orchestrated outings. They have redirected that energy into themselves, into fitness, finances, friendships, and personal projects that deliver tangible returns. The gym has become a sanctuary, not just for physical transformation, but for mental clarity. Men show up consistently, track progress, celebrate personal records, and leave feeling stronger in every sense. That discipline spills over into every area of life. Meal prep replaces impulsive spending on dates. Investment research replaces late night texting marathons. Sleep schedules improve because there's no more staying up arguing over perceived slights or navigating emotional minefields, and the financial payoff is massive. Without the constant drain of relationship related expenses, dates, gifts, shared bills, surprise requests for help, disposable income skyrockets. Men who once felt stretched thin suddenly find themselves with surplus. That surplus gets deployed strategically. Some pay down debt aggressively, building credit and freedom. Others build emergency funds that provide genuine security. Many more dive into wealth building vehicles like cryptocurrency, where patient, informed positions can compound dramatically over time. They're learning about dollar cost averaging into solid projects, staking for passive yields, diversifying across layers of the ecosystem. Online communities dedicated to financial education for men are exploding, filled with guys sharing wins, warning about pitfalls, and holding each other accountable. No ego, no drama, just results. Contrast this with the narrative still pushed in many mainstream spaces that men are struggling, lost, or in need of guidance back into societal roles. Specials airframing male disengagement as a mental health crisis, suggesting interventions, programs, outreach. Influencers who spent years promoting female empowerment now pivot to concern for men's well being, as if the solution is simply convincing men they're broken and need fixing. But men aren't buying it. They've tasted genuine well being, the kind that comes from owning your time, your resources, and your peace, and they're not trading it back for anything less than extraordinary terms. This is where storytelling becomes powerful again. Picture a 35-year-old professional who spent his 20s chasing relationships the way society told him to, approaching confidently, planning thoughtful dates, investing emotionally early. He faced repeated patterns, initial interest fading once the investment was secured, expectations rising while reciprocity stayed flat, eventual ghosting or conflict that left him questioning his worth. After one particularly draining experience, he stepped away entirely. 6 months of no dating, no apps, no chasing. He used the time to get his body in the best shape of his life, read books on finance and psychology, started a side business, and built a small but solid crypto position. A year later, his net worth is up significantly. His confidence is through the roof, and his stress levels are lower than they've ever been. Women notice the change. He's calmer, more centered, less eager to please. Some reach out, but he's unmoved. The juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore. Multiply that individual story by hundreds of thousands, and you begin to grasp the magnitude. Support networks have formed quietly. Men's groups focused on fitness and finance, online spaces where experiences are shared without judgment, mentorship passing from older guys who've been through the fire to younger ones just waking up. There's no victim mentality here. There's ownership, accountability, and forward momentum. Men are teaching each other that peace is the ultimate luxury, that protecting it is non negotiable. Meanwhile, the other side grapples with the void. Videos pour in daily from women across age groups expressing the same core frustrations. Where are the men who used to pursue? Why is no one asking them out anymore? Why does initiating feel so one sided when they do decide to try? Some adapt, taking the lead more often, but many express resentment that traditional dynamics have shifted. Others double down on independence, declaring they don't need men anyway. Yet the underlying tone often reveals the strain of carrying everything solo in a world that's getting harder economically by the month. Inflation keeps climbing, rents soar, groceries bite deeper into budgets, and energy costs fluctuate wildly. What used to be manageable with two incomes or with male provision stepping in during tough spots is now a solo endeavor for more and more people. Men, having insulated themselves through discipline and redirection of resources, navigate these pressures with greater ease. Their minimalist lifestyles mean lower overhead, smaller living spaces by choice, fewer possessions requiring maintenance, less emotional energy spent on drama. They cook quality meals at home, shop smart, invest the savings. Crypto gains provide cushions that traditional savings accounts can't match in this environment. Let's talk more about that crypto angle because it's become a cornerstone of male financial independence in this era. Men are naturally drawn to systems they can research, understand, and control. Blockchain offers transparency. Every transaction public, every project researchable. Communities vet opportunities rigorously, sharing due diligence that protects the group. Men who once would have spent thousands whining and dining now allocate those funds into positions that grow while they sleep. They learn about risk management, position sizing, long term holding versus trading. They celebrate milestones not with expensive nights out, but with quiet satisfaction as portfolios hit new highs. The psychological win is enormous. Wealth built on your own knowledge and patience, independent of anyone's approval or participation. This financial sovereignty feeds directly into overall life sovereignty. Men wake up knowing their future is in their hands. No worrying about joint finances going sideways. No fear of assets being divided unfairly. No ongoing obligations draining resources post relationship. Freedom feels different when it's backed by growing numbers in accounts you alone control. Back to the social fallout. Birth rates continue trending downward in many countries, marriage rates plummet, and household formation stalls. Policymakers scratch their heads, proposing incentives for family creation. But the incentives miss the point entirely. Men aren't opting out because they can't afford families. They're opting out because they've seen the risks and decided the current framework isn't worth it. Why sign up for a system where effort and sacrifice can be undermined by unilateral decisions, where protections are minimal and consequences severe? Better to build alone or with partners who enter on equal, enthusiastic terms from day one. And those partners do exist. Women who recognize the shift, who bring genuine reciprocity, who value peace as much as men now do. Relationships still form, but they're different. Slower to commit, higher standards on both sides, clearer boundaries from the start. Men no longer rush in to prove provider status. They observe actions over time. Trust is earned, not assumed. Chaos is a deal breaker, not a feature. These relationships tend to be healthier, more balanced, because they're built on mutual respect rather than societal scripts. But for the majority who continue operating under old expectations, the gap widens, the begging intensifies, not always overt demands, but subtle guilt tripping in media, framing disengaged men as immature or damaged. Articles question where all the good men went, as if they vanished rather than consciously withdrew. Podcasts debate how to bring men back to dating, education, workforce participation. Yet, the solutions rarely address root causes. They simply ask men to resume roles without fixing what drove them away. Men see through it. They've developed a healthy skepticism, trusting observable reality over narratives. They watch actions, not words. They prioritize outcomes over intentions. This mindset protects them across life domains, relationships, investments, career choices. It's why so many are thriving while others flail. Let's paint another day in the life picture. A man in his early 40s wakes naturally around 7, no alarm jolting him awake. He starts with meditation or journaling, setting intention for the day. Coffee brewed strong, he reviews overnight crypto market movements, maybe a project he researched heavily pumped, adding thousands to his stack. He smiles, not because of the money alone, but because his analysis was spot on. Workout follows, heavy lifts and progressive overload, tracking every set. Post-workout meal is high protein, prepped the night before. Workday is focused. Fewer distractions mean higher output, faster promotions, or business growth. Evenings are his. Reading, skill building courses, connecting with friends who share the mindset. Maybe a weekend trip planned, solo hiking or road trip with brothers. No coordinating schedules, no compromising on destinations, pure freedom. That life compounds. Health improves yearly. Wealth snowballs. Peace deepens. Why interrupt it? Women navigating the same economy without that buffer face steeper climbs. Many rise to the challenge, building careers, networks, independence. Others voice exhaustion, longing for partnership that lightens the load. The disconnect is stark. One side discovered they don't need the old dynamic to thrive, the other realizing too late how much they relied on it. This isn't revenge, it's consequence. Actions over decades created conditions men responded rationally. Society now adapts or strains. Men have adapted masterfully. They're healthier, wealthier, calmer, community support without demanding, knowledge shared freely, growth constant. The shift is locked in because knowledge is permanent. Once you see the matrix, you can't unsee it. Men have seen, chosen freedom, building lives of quiet luxury. Society may plead louder as pressures mount, but resolve only strengthens. Men walking away isn't the end. It's the beginning of something better for those who embrace it. Peace guarded, futures bright, legacies self determined. Let's keep pushing forward with this. Because as we enter deeper into 2025, the evidence is piling up everywhere you look, from social media feeds to mainstream articles, podcasts, and everyday conversations. Men are not just stepping back, they're building entirely new lives that don't revolve around the old expectations, and the ripple effects are impossible to ignore. We've talked about the peace, the financial redirection, the minimalism that's turning into real luxury, but let's expand on how this is playing out in real time across the dating landscape and society at large. Videos and posts from women expressing outright confusion and frustration about the lack of approaches are everywhere now. Not just isolated complaints, but a growing chorus that's echoing what many predicted years ago. Take the countless clips circulating on platforms where women are openly wondering why men have stopped initiating in public spaces like cafes, gyms, parks, or even social events. They're sharing stories of going out, dressing up, and waiting for that classic pursuit that used to be commonplace, only to encounter polite nods or nothing at all. Some are puzzled, attributing it to men being shy or intimidated. Others are more direct, demanding a return to traditional dynamics where men take the lead without hesitation. And high profile discussions are amplifying it. Articles and podcasts debating the so called shortage of proactive men, framing it as a crisis for dating overall. But from the men's side, it's not a shortage. It's a deliberate choice born from years of observing risks that outweigh rewards. Men have internalized the lessons from past cultural shifts. Approaches could be welcome one day and labeled unwanted the next. Simple compliments twisted into something negative. Everyday interactions risking misinterpretation in a climate where recording and public shaming became tools. Why expose yourself to that when solitude offers consistency and growth? Many men now view public approaches as high risk, low reward endeavors, especially when organic connections through shared interests or mutual circles feel safer and more genuine. And with apps becoming increasingly unbalanced and inefficient, even digital pursuit has lost appeal for a lot of guys. This ties directly into the economic realities, amplifying the shift. With costs continuing to climb, housing unstable, daily expenses biting harder, men who've embraced self focus are in a stronger position. They've cut out the habitual spending tied to courtship. No more defaulting to paying for everything on dates that lead nowhere. No more investing in experiences just to prove worth. That saved capital is fueling personal stability. Better living situations, debt reduction, smart investments, including crypto, that provide passive growth. Men are researching markets, holding positions through volatility, watching assets appreciate while living lean and fulfilled. It's not about hoarding, it's about sovereignty, knowing your efforts compound for you first. Story after story emerges of men who hit reset. One guy in his late 20s, burned out from serial dating with inconsistent outcomes, deletes the apps, commits to the gym and career hustle. A year in, he's physically transformed, portfolio diversified into solid crypto plays, traveling on his terms with friends. Women notice, some circle back, but he's selective now. Peace isn't negotiable. Another in his 40s, post divorce, rebuilds quietly. Minimal possessions, maximal freedom. No drama, no financial leaks, just steady progress. These aren't outliers, they're the new standard for many. Women, on the other hand, are voicing the unbuffered weight more openly. Content creators and everyday posters discuss the exhaustion of full independence in a tough economy. No automatic shared loads, no default provider stepping in during rough patches. Some adapt brilliantly, building careers and networks, but others highlight the strain, wondering aloud about partnerships that truly lighten life rather than complicate it. Trends like dating wrapped, summaries on social media reveal reflections on sparse connections, low effort interactions, or outright droughts, and echoes of past warnings, like those from Kevin Samuels about preparation and realism, resurface in discussions. His phrase about winter arriving resonating as options feel narrower for those who banked on endless leverage. But men aren't gloating, they're thriving. Health metrics improve with consistent routines, no stress induced setbacks, better sleep, clearer minds. Mental clarity from removed toxicity allows deeper pursuits. Books, skills, hobbies long sidelined. Brotherhood strengthen, groups focused on fitness challenges, investment strategies, life advice without agendas. Crypto circles, especially, draw analytical minds, dissecting projects, sharing wins, building wealth collectively, yet independently. It's empowering, seeing knowledge translate directly to security. Rhetorically, if the old dynamic required constant proving with uncertain returns, why revert when the alternative delivers daily compounding benefits? Pleas for men to re-engage often come framed as concern for society's fabric, lower birth rates, delayed families, workforce shifts, but solutions rarely address the core disincentives that drove withdrawal. Incentives like family policies miss the mark when trust in the framework is eroded. Men see equitable, enthusiastic partnerships forming occasionally, but on vetted terms, mutual effort, clear communication, no chaos. As 2025 progresses, the divide sharpens. Media highlights young men opting for purposeful solitude over forced participation, reporting higher satisfaction in self directed lives. Economic data underscores who's positioned better amid pressures. Those with disciplined habits and redirected resources weathering storms smoothly. Women excelling independently inspire, but many voice a desire for balanced teams, discovering the hype of total solo sufficiency doesn't always match reality. Men's minimalism shines here. Less need for excess when basics plus purpose equal abundance. Quality tools, good food, solid training, meaningful connections, these sustain without drain. Crypto adds another layer. Decentralized, borderless growth aligning with a mindset of self-reliance. Men stake, hold, learn from cycles, celebrate milestones privately or with peers. No external validation required. Contrast with relational histories. Resources outflowing, peace interrupted, efforts undermined. Once escaped, return appeals fall flat. Not hatred, just preference for proven peace. This evolution feels permanent because awareness is. Men who've seen patterns trust observation over persuasion. They guard energy fiercely, invest wisely, live intentionally. Society adjusts slowly, institutions straining from reduced input, cultural narratives recalibrating awkwardly. But individuals adapt fast, and men have led this adaptation. Deeper into health, reduced chronic stress from drama means lower cortisol, better recovery, longer horizons. Gym communities report record male consistency, transformations fueling confidence loops. Financially, crypto education booms among men. Tutorials, forums, strategies shared openly. Gains fund freedoms, early retirement dreams, passion projects, philanthropy on own terms. Socially, events tailored to men, fitness retreats, investment meetups, thrive without female centric dynamics. Pure focus yields bonds deeper than superficial. Women forming parallel spaces too, empowerment circles, career networks, good growth all around. But cross dynamic pleas highlight imbalance. Rhetorical close. If disengagement yields health, wealth, calm, what pull could old chaos have? None logical. Men walk, built better, society begs, men smile, peace priceless, and trends accelerate. More videos of dating frustrations, more men sharing glow ups. 2025 marks tipping point, shift locked, future favors prepared, focused. Men prepared, luxury and simplicity profound, freedom tastes eternal, a brotherhood solid, growth endless. This reality unfolding daily, men leading quietly, powerfully, world watches, men proceed. Let's wrap this up strong because as we close out 2025 and look ahead, the evidence is overwhelming and undeniable. Men have not only walked away, they've built something far better on the other side, and no amount of pleading or reframing is pulling them back into a system that spent decades proving it didn't value them. We're seeing it play out in real time across every platform, every study, every candid conversation. Women posting videos wondering aloud why men aren't approaching anymore. High profile articles questioning the dating drought. Polls showing massive opt outs among young men. And yet the root causes remain unaddressed because acknowledging them would require real accountability. This isn't a blip or a phase. It's the culmination of patterns observed, lessons learned, and choices made for self preservation and genuine fulfillment. Look at the trends exploding right now in late 2025. Social media is flooded with women expressing outright bewilderment at the silence in public spaces. Clips from clubs, gyms, coffee shops, parties, women dressing up, going out, and coming home frustrated because no one makes a move. They're calling men scary for not approaching, yet in the same breath, dismissing risk that men have faced for years. Reddit threads, TikToks, YouTube reactions, all capturing the same sentiment. Where did the proactive guys go? Articles in major outlets highlight single women sharing woes about low effort men or no effort at all, with many admitting they'd rather stay single than deal with the dynamics, but still voicing confusion over the void. Polls from this year show young men opting out at higher rates than ever. Some estimates putting it at nearly 40% of men under 40 not interested in dating compared to lower figures for women. Dating app data reveals men deleting profiles in droves, usage dropping significantly while imbalances worsen. And the commentary? Endless videos titled things like women freaking out because men don't approach or shocked that even good guys are staying back. Women in their 30s and beyond sharing regrets, begging for a return to traditional pursuit, framing it as a crisis for everyone. But men see it clearly. The same voices that championed independence, warned against unwanted advances, and created an environment where a simple hello could spiral into accusation are now demanding a rollback when the consequences hit home. It's classic. Set the rules, watch men adapt by exiting, then act surprised when the game changes permanently. This ties into broader societal shifts we've been unpacking. Economic pressures hit harder without shared burdens, and with men redirecting resources inward, they're cushioned in ways that minimalism and smart investing amplify. Crypto continues to be a powerhouse for many, patient holds paying off, passive strategies building real security without the drama of joint finances or post relationship divisions. Men are staking, diversifying, watching portfolios grow while living lean and luxuriously simple. No more funding lifestyles that don't reciprocate. No more stretching thin for dates with no depth. That freedom compounds daily. Better health from consistent routines, deeper peace from removed chaos, stronger brotherhoods built on mutual growth rather than competition. Story after story illustrates it perfectly. A guy in his mid 30s, tired of the chase, steps away, focuses on career, gym, investments. A year later, he's leaner, wealthier, calmer. Women notice, some reach out, but he's unmoved because the alternative is proven superior. Multiply that across millions. Young professionals skipping apps altogether, seasoned men post divorce vowing selectivity, everyday guys realizing solitude with purpose beats obligated entanglement. Communities thrive, fitness groups, investment circles, hobby networks where support is genuine and drama free. Women adapting in their own ways, some embracing true independence, building careers and networks, others highlighting the strain of solo navigation in tough times. But the pleas persist. Specials discussing male disengagement, influencers pivoting to concern, demands for men to step up and provide the structure once deemed unnecessary. Yet incentives remain misaligned. Why re enter a framework where risks are high and rewards uncertain when self directed life delivers consistently? Rhetorically, if peace, prosperity, and freedom are achieved outside the old system, what's the pullback? Guilt trips don't work on those who've trusted observation over words. Framing it as a shared crisis ignores who benefited from the imbalance longest. Men aren't lost or failing, they're succeeding on terms that prioritize them first, as society once encouraged for others. As 2025 ends, data backs it. Lower human interactions and dating, rising celibacy for well being, men reporting higher satisfaction in purposeful solitude. Birth rates, marriage rates, all reflecting choices made. Institutions strain, narratives shift awkwardly, but individuals who adapted fastest, men walking away, thrive quietly. This is the legacy of decades of messaging. Men listened, learned, left. They found luxury in simplicity, strength in selectivity, joy in self mastery. Crypto portfolios compounding, bodies transforming, minds clearing, no looking back. Society begged, framed, pleaded. Men smiled, invested, rested, peace protected, futures secured. The shift, permanent, winter for some, endless spring for others. Men chose spring, and it only gets better. We've covered the origins, the patterns, the peace, the wealth building, the current trends flooding feeds in December 2025. Women confused by the drought they helped create, men thriving in the space they reclaimed. It's all connected, all observable, all irreversible because awareness doesn't fade. Men walking away isn't tragedy, it's triumph. For those who've joined, life upgraded. For those watching, lesson clear. All roads lead here. Now, what did you think about all this? Do you agree with the shift we're seeing, or do you see it differently? Leave a comment below, sharing your thoughts. I read them all and love hearing your perspectives. Like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you liked the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away, and cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.